So, I want to start off by saying welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're a fanatic of everything entertainment, then this is the channel for you, but in today's movie review, we'll be talking about this year's Sinners. So let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Jason, Mother is talking to you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
So before I get into it, I just want to give a big shout out to Jakeem Jackson over at Nerdy Python Media. He just commented on my Out of the Theater reaction, and it's been so long since I've seen anything from him. He hasn't uploaded a video in like 5 years, and he left a comment saying he's not really into horror, but he's really excited to check out this movie. So this one's for you, dude. But also, if you come back to YouTube, I really wish you would. But if you did, do a review on this. Please, that's all I'm asking. One last thing, I will be honest. This is probably my favorite or second favorite movie of the year so far for me personally. I have this one pigeonholed at number two on my Letterboxd ranking of 2025 films. Like, I'm still going back and forth with Companion and Sinners. Well, with that said, let's move on to the things that I did like about this movie. The performances from mostly everybody. Everybody in here is phenomenal. The leads in here, portrayed by Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. I had to make that joke. I'm sorry. Haley Steinfeld is in here. She's great. But the people that stand out most to me is, yes, the main cast, but also the side characters in here. A lot of them are familiar faces to me. I don't entirely know everybody's names. The only names that I know is Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. Everyone else I've seen in other things, I just don't know their name. But I will say a lot of this movie, some of the best scenes include the side characters. Okay, I love everybody in here, mostly everybody in here, you know? Like, you're gonna watch this for Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld and leaving surprised from everybody else that was in here. I like that this movie takes inspiration from Dusk Till Dawn, which this one has like a very familiar setup and pacing to that film because this movie starts as one thing and ends as something totally different. Like the first half of this movie is like a mob story sort of, but also like a drama at the same time, and then the last half is metal as fuck. It has everything to do with the vampires in here. And speaking of the vampires in here, holy shit. Their design very simple, but their presence is very heavy. They are really scary. There is this one scene that is going to stick in my mind that sort of terrifies me. Like if I looked outside my window and saw this certain thing, it would terrify me. Like I don't know, man. But then like the gore in here, the practical effects, especially like the last scene, or one of the last scenes. Holy shit, dude. Like that, when I saw that, I'm like, dude, this is metal as fuck. Like any negatives I had about this movie were sort of like washed away because how much I'm enjoying this right now. Also love the setting in here. You have 1930s Mississippi. Um, this movie has a lot of soul, no pun intended, or actually pun intended. This movie does have a lot of soul in it, especially like with the musical sequences. Like this movie is on the verge of sort of being a musical in a way, but it's not. It just has a musical moments to it, and I really loved it. Like everything that has to do with jazz and the folk singing and everything was just awesome. And then there's like this one scene in the middle of the film that everyone's going to be talking about that like transcends, and it's like this 2 or 3 minute shot that goes through like different time periods, and it just plays with time in this one sequence, and I think they did it beautifully. Like it would be cheesy in something else, or it just wouldn't really make sense in a different film, but this film makes sense and it justifies being in the film, which any other movie it would catch me off guard or I'd be like, that's a bit cheesy. No, this sequence, fantastic. I love that this movie is very dialogue heavy as well. Like um this isn't like gore a minute type thing. This isn't like an action sequence a minute type thing. Most of the action sequences and horror stuff is towards the end and it pays off. But like I love the dialogue in here for the most part. And people are going to call this a slow burn, and some people are just going to call it slow as fuck. For me, I'm sort of in the middle, but I'll get into that later. But like, it justifies being a slow burn because this whole movie pays off in the end. And speaking of the end, I feel like this movie had like 2 or 3 different endings to it. Like it just kept going, but like I was intrigued. Like I did not want this movie to end. And then there's this post-credit scene, one of the best post-credit scenes I've ever seen in a film ever. Like because it's not sequel bait. It just ends the movie with this very satisfying epilogue. It's fantastic. So with that said, let's move on to the things that I'm mixed on with this movie. I will say the runtime in here is something that I'm very mixed on. Um, because the trailers sort of made it out to be like this straight up vampire movie when it's like just like the later half, like 40, 45, maybe 50% of this movie is the vampire stuff. And I went into it wanting just the vampire stuff. But instead, we got, like a mob story, a very dialogue heavy first half with some very, dynamic characters. That's why I'm like, it's in the mix section. But I will say, once this movie started to lose me a little bit, it picked itself right back up. Like I said, that transition from the first half to the second half, fantastic, absolutely phenomenal. So, with that being said, let's move on to the things that I didn't like about this movie. There's this one character that does one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in any movie. You know how you're supposed to invite a vampire to come in order for them to come in? One character decides to let that happen, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, I know that they're preparing to, like, combat the vampires, but still, like, really stupid. I was sort of waiting for that type of scene to happen, and it did. It did make me roll my eyes. But the sequence that happened afterwards sort of made up for it. It's really hard for me to think of a negative in here, to be honest. There's something I do want to note in here. This movie is going to make some people uncomfortable, and there's going to be articles written about it calling it woke because of the setting and the people in it. That's really stupid. Like, I got a comment on that on my TikTok out of the theater reaction. They're like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be articles written about this movie because, they're going to be calling it woke. I don't see it, but there is some dialogue in here that's going to make people uncomfortable, but that's just something to note. I'm not putting it in the positives, negatives, or mixed section, whatever. So, with that being said, I'm going to be giving this year's Sinners an overall grade of a 90%. If you've seen this movie, let me know what you think about it in the comments below because this is one of my favorite movies of the year. Like I said, it's in my top two for sure. This movie is so good. The performances by Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and everyone else in here, fantastic. But with that being said, I just want to say thank you as always for watching my videos and hope to see you in the next one.